Hey Rebs, welcome back to Rebel Watch. I'm your host, Erika Dierke.
Max Certuse.
Mariah Evans.
And I'm Henry Stuart.
Even though it was a bye-week weekend for Ole Miss, other SEC games still persisted. So let's get right into that, I think. What did we think about the slate of games this past weekend?
Yeah, I mean, there were really only two games of note this weekend, Texas and Florida, and then Vanderbilt and Alabama. And let's start off with the latter, Texas and Florida. Arch Manning is not a good quarterback. I'm sorry. He throws two interceptions, one of which is a game-losing one, and you come in as the number 9 team in the country, and that's great. That's grossly inflated. You know, your only real game is against Ohio State, and you lose that. So you're 3-1, and you play some teams like San Jose State and Sam Houston. So yeah, you're going to look like world beaters. But Arch Manning didn't look like world beaters in any of those games, and he certainly did not look that way against Florida on Saturday. You know, in the swamp, that's a dangerous environment. Ole Miss fans, we are certainly well aware of the factor the swamp can play in spoiling a team's season, and that certainly was the case. DJ Lagway lit it up for the Gators, passing-wise, 21 for 28, 298 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Just a terrific game. 27 carries for 170 yards and a touchdown for Jaden Ball, the running back. Florida, they played better than Texas, but they still didn't play that great. DJ Lagway really carried this team to a victory on Saturday. And, Billy Napier is still incompetent and still not the right head coach for Florida. And his incompetence was outdone by a poor performance from Arch Manning. So this was a battle of incompetence. Florida looked just a little bit better.
Yeah, Henry, I got to agree with you when you talk about Arch being a bad quarterback. And I hate to say it because, I obviously have, I wish the kid well, but it kind of stinks because, there was so much hype. And this season, you just kind of debunked the Manning legacy that everyone was talking about.
Yeah.
But I saw a quote from over the weekend that I kind of think was probably the best way to put it. It was, if Arch was all of this, then, why wasn't he playing over Quinn Ewers last year? And I think that is apparent now. I think it's true that, he's still a good quarterback. I don't think he's awful. I think, he might not be the caliber of that Texas legacy that they need. I think he could still play at the college level, obviously. But I don't think he's this great quarterback that everyone was leading up to be. And I also want to talk to you about something that you were saying about Billy Napier, because I think this is another narrative that's now continuing in college football, as we talk about Billy Napier having a bad season. It's happened, I think, almost the past 2 years. And then one game where all of a sudden it kind of saves his career. He has one great game, and then it kind of cycles over again. And if you were, kind of in charge of where this Florida team goes down the road, are you keeping him as a coach every time you see these good outbreak games, or are you saying cut it with Napier?
I would say that it's inconsistency, and that's really been the thing. I mean, Florida, they may go to a bowl game, but the wins they have every season is varied. And I will give them the benefit of the doubt here. They do play an incredibly tough schedule year in and year out, but I'm not seeing the consistency and really just discipline or preparation for these games that you would expect to see from someone that's the head coach for the University of Florida. I mean, I think Florida fans at this point, I think you wish you had Dan Mullen back, and you can't have him. He's in Vegas at UNLV, but at least then you were competitive and you were a contender for the SEC East every year. But no more divisions, and Florida's just they've gone the way of the dodo. I think. I mean, this is just a team that has, as much money as you could possibly imagine. They've got that, and they've got more money to back that up, and they've got the recruits, and they've got the facilities, and they've got the academics. Florida's an outstanding educational institution, but they cannot get it done on the football field. That's not a lack of players. That's not a lack of anything off the field. It is purely on the field, and it falls on the shoulders of Billy Napier.
Mariah, what did you think about the highly anticipated Vanderbilt-Alabama rematch?
Well, I thought it was a game that Diego Pavia probably got a slice of humble pie. It was not all that great. Alabama, like they did last week when they played against Georgia, they was able to win the time of possessions, and I think that's really something that everybody was watching. Because the first half, it did look like Vanderbilt had a chance. It went into halftime, they was tied 14-14, and then it's like Alabama defense, they got a wake-up call, and then they woke up and they said, we got to shut down your offense, and that's what they did. I mean, they shut them down. Diego Pavia is like, he said that quote last week, if we play our game, it's going to be a lopsided game, and it was, but not for them. And so it was kind of like depressing to see, like, look at that, like, just go down. And then it's just like, I don't even know what to say. I'm not going to jump on Vanderbilt sucks now, but I'm going to say Alabama has been playing lights out ever since Florida.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. Alabama has been playing lights out. We saw this against the Georgia game too, and I think that Alabama is really picking up to be a team that's going to be an issue in these playoff seasons coming up.
Yeah, that's kind of my whole narrative is I'm not sold on Alabama. No? I'm sorry. I think Vanderbilt is they are a solid football team. They're likely going to win 8 games this season, but I don't think they really deserve the number 16 ranking in the country. And I think that this win is just an example of overinflation that makes Alabama look good by comparison. I mean, yeah, Ty Simpson played a good game, but this is a team that, I don't think they can compete with the Texas A&Ms and the Oklahomas of the SEC this year, because those are legitimate juggernauts. And that sounds crazy to say, but my faith in Kalen DeBoer is still shaken. And I after the Florida State game and seeing how Florida State has progressed through the course of this season, that makes him look even worse. That is really the only other meaningful game that they've played aside from Georgia. And we talked about it on the show, but that was more so a case of Georgia beating themselves, not necessarily anything Alabama did, just mistakes and a lack of offensive production for Georgia. And I think that this Vanderbilt game, yeah, it's impressive. You do hold a team like that to only 14 points, especially after giving up a big run to Shedrick Alexander. But I'm still just not sold. I think that.
Will you be sold if they win this weekend against Missouri?
I'm not that high on Missouri, so no. I mean, I'm a tough.
What SEC teams are you high on?
Well, my question to you, Henry, is you kind of talk about that inflation effect, and I mean, you did just touch on it a little bit, but you really don't tie that into Georgia at all. I mean, Georgia, they just beat Kentucky, and do you credit that to be a big win, or do you still think that Georgia's a team that just made Bama look better by comparison after 2 weeks ago?
I feel that way. Kentucky's the worst team in the SEC by a long shot. I think that's pretty clear. But I mean, Georgia. This is not the same teams that we saw with Stetson Bennett. Gunnar Stockton's a good quarterback, but he doesn't have a whole lot of help. Dylan Bell certainly stepped up in the receiving game, so it was nice to see someone kind of step up. But Georgia doesn't look all that impressive to me. That defense does. They've really the reason that they kept them in these ball games. But call me a tough critic, but
Yeah, you've.
I am. But I think that there are better teams in the SEC right now, and I think that we're just relying on these legacies that were built. And granted, legacies are there for a reason, but I think that the dynamic of power in the SEC is shifting, and people are having a tough time coming to grips with that. So we're just going to continue to push the narrative of Alabama, Florida, LSU, and Georgia. But they're not what they used to be. The game is changing.
I think we should circle back to Ole Miss, though. So after the break, we are going to talk about an interview that two of us went on with Kam Franklin, right?
Yeah.
Very exciting, and we will get right back to that after the break.
It's that time of the year again, fellas. When the mornings are hot, the afternoons are hotter, and football is on its way back. Now, games is won by the battles fought in August. Yeah. Everyone that's not revered as the Ole Miss legend has been in your shoes before, trying to survive that Mississippi heat, competing for a spot, and doing the sacrifice that it takes to make it in this league. You go into this money collection of men from 100 different places, and if you work, you emerge from it as one team with one goal and one heartbeat. The SEC awaits you. And if they don't know who you are now, they will soon.
The dynamic freshman is starting to make his impact. Dagger with the shot clock down to 1. That 3-ball drops for Jamin Greenfield. Fagan from the corner with a triple. Burrell for 3. That's a big response. 3-ball. Yes. Miss shooting lights out of the pavilion. First, hey, give him one more. Oh. Well, you can't fix that. Well, that should give Ole Miss a boost.
Ole Miss, 18th NCAA tournament appearance.
This is fun, folks, as Baker's feeling it. Little heat check. Snug Collins for 3. Bring it up.
Said, I love Madison Scott.
Ole Miss Rebels
are having a lot of fun, and you can see why.
All right, so the other day, Max and Henry had the opportunity to speak with Kam Franklin. He is a really good defensive end for Ole Miss. He's in his second year now. He was a 5-star recruit from Mississippi, highly touted, really awesome guy. Tell me a little bit about
Yeah, and what an opportunity it was. Henry and I had the pleasure of going out to the football facility and having a sit-down interview with him. And, you're going to see it in a minute, but it was really great to see how one of these guys in the defensive side of the ball has been stepping up this year, with a lot of guys going on to that pro level last year. It was really informative. It was really great just to see, one of the highest recruited people out of his position in the state of Mississippi and, what it meant to him to come and play for Mississippi as a state. He talked to us about that, what it meant to him, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was a real pleasure. Just such a nice, down-to-earth guy. It was just no other words can describe it other than just a genuine pleasure to sit down and be able to talk to him.
Yeah, and we'll take a look at that now. Kam, we're super excited to have you here today with us. We want to talk to you about, Ole Miss has been in an absolute streak right now. You can really see the winning culture that is being put together here. And, last year we had a lot of defensive linemen kind of move up and go on to that second level. And you're kind of being looked to as like one of the new leaders of the team. So we want to talk to you about that whole kind of process. But I want to start to you and ask, why Ole Miss?
The guys in the building, the team, the culture that's been created, we have fun while we play, so it don't even feel like work. And, I'm from Mississippi, so I'm a Mississippi guy. And it was just like I wanted to show, all the other kids, like, that's coming up behind me, like, you don't have to leave. You don't have to leave a state to be great. So, like, just being able to play for that Mississippi logo across my chest just means a lot.
Yeah, Kam, obviously you've had a terrific season so far. You're off to a really strong start. How did you kind of rebound? You give up a lot of yards to Taylor Green in Arkansas, and then you completely shut down Jake Retzlaff. Kind of take me through the preparations that y'all went through just from that week-to-week basis and even being able to shut down Garrett Nussmeier against LSU.
So, I gave up a lot of yards. From a schematically standpoint, I wasn't there, out of position a little bit. So just being able to lock back in and refocus and, move forward with the next game and, just really lock down on my responsibility, and what I was supposed to do and execute at a high level. It was important.
You made a big step up from last year, who you were as a player, to this year. And I want to talk to you about, the steps that you took as a personal athlete to make those big jumps and to, get this new kind of form of yourself. But I also want to talk about, coach-wise or even player-wise, in a mentor sense, who has helped you from last year to this year prepare for that next level.
I want to say the whole coaching staff for trusting into me, the whole defensive staff, Joyner as a really, really big part in my development. Like I said, the guys from last year that moved up to the league, they have a big role because they got, they showed me what it looks like. They told me pretty much what it takes to be great. So watching them day in and day out, the effort they showed, like their work ethic and the plays they made, it was like, it showed that it can be done and it can be done at a high level and it can be done here at Ole Miss.
You've got some pretty tough road matchups kind of coming up within the next few weeks at Georgia, at Oklahoma. Kind of what are you and the rest of the defensive line doing to kind of prepare for guys like John Mateer? Because it's looking like he's going to be able to come back for Red River. Some real dynamic quarterbacks and offenses coming up. Kind of what are y'all doing to prepare for that?
You just, taking it week by week, opponent by opponent, just want to know. I believe that all of our guys have trust in each other. It ain't no situation that we can't handle. No quarterback we can't handle, no running back. Anybody with the ball, we're going to get it.
Now, Kam, we had the pleasure of talking to Oscar Bird last week, your punter, and we kind of talked to him about what it was like being in the building for the first year. But, you were here last year, and you've kind of gotten to see this winning culture develop. And you kind of talked about it earlier, but like that vibe in the locker room, I mean, what's it like? What is the mission this year? What is the goal? I mean, obviously it's to win, but what are some of the mottos that the team is really instilling upon each other?
It's a brotherhood, like letting everybody know it's a brotherhood. We're going to work. We're gonna compete, but I feel like the biggest important thing that has been going on this year is like the blue collar work. Like I think everybody pretty much blue collar and like everybody, want the same thing. Everybody want to win. Yeah. Everybody want to dominate. So like, it's just a credit to the people in the building from head coach all the way down like to us. Yep. So like it's just a credit to us because everybody wants the same thing. Everybody on the same page. Everybody locked in. Yep.
You had a really strong season last year, especially considering how much talent was on that Ole Miss defensive line. Do you have any goals kind of for yourself personally moving forward for this season, kind of being the number one guy on this revamped defensive line?
I just want to win. I want to be, I just want to help my team win. I want to be, we're going to go down as one of the greats to play here. Like, individually, like, I just want to be the best me. Like, I don't have set out goals, stats, like, this number set. Like, I just want to play the best ball I can play and be the best team that I can be.
You were kind of accustomed to winning in high school. You set the school record, 19 sacks your junior year. How was that kind of success in high school prepared you for the success that you found here at Ole Miss?
Like, I don't know if y'all seen the graphic. Like, I was, second in the SEC with pressures.
Yeah. Yes.
When I received that notification, it was like, okay, like, I did this before. I don't like being second, but, like I did in high school. It's not, high school ball and college not the same, but, I'm grateful for it. Thank God, for this position, but, it's not nothing new. I broke records in high school, so, I want to do it again, and I know I will.
With as well as the team is doing right now, you guys are all elevated. Everybody's watching, especially in the SEC where football is, it's not just a sport, but it's a way of life down here. And with that comes a platform. And with your platform, if there were people and, younger kids out there that play football, some of the defensive linemen out there or whatever, is there any advice that, you've ever received in your life that really meant a lot to you? Or what advice would you give to, somebody watching out there that's, been watching you perform in this elevated stage? You've been a dog all season and, it's only going to continue. So what are those kind of words of advice that you would give?
Everything starts with focus, knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses first, just being able to continue to get better and never be satisfied. I try to strive to run away from complacency and satisfaction. I like to be unsatisfied all the time, and stay hungry. So, my advice would be is never get too high, never get too low, and just grind and work, and everything else will play out how it's supposed to be.
Kam, that's all we have today. Thank you so much for coming out. We wish you guys the best of luck with the season to come, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah, for sure.
What a great opportunity for us. Big thanks to Kam Franklin for sitting down and speaking with Max and Henry. And I'm really excited to see how the defensive line is able to perform in this upcoming game we have against Washington State this Saturday. And we will talk all Wazoo after the break.
Passion is journalism. Here at the University of Mississippi, we produce a nightly half-hour newscast, broadcasting regionally on cable and globally on the World Wide Web. It's the kind of experience that is preparing me to walk into any news station in the country with the skills and abilities I need to succeed. So it's not just preparing me for the real world, it is the real world.
Do you love sports? Then you should know about STEM. Because maximizing nutrition, analyzing peak muscle performance, calculating the perfect shot, and more are all made possible by science, technology, engineering, and math. In fact, there are more careers than ever in sports science. So if you have a passion for sports, then think about getting involved in STEM and improve everyone's game on and off the field. Get inspired at shecanstem.com.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We are rebels. For more than 160 years, we've been accomplishing the impossible, from conducting the world's first lung transplant to helping prove Einstein was right. From preserving the past to saving the future. We are Mississippi's flagship university, a place where passion and learning unite, where friends become family, where small-town charm meets world-class innovation. We are the University of Mississippi. We are Ole Miss.
All right, guys, let's hold up our awesome signs that I made. Who do we think's winning this weekend?
Nah.
Might as well have made this thing with just one side on it because Ole Miss is going to win.
Well, this is for sympathy. I'm just playing. No, I'm going to keep it.
What do you think about the game, Mariah? What do you think about this weekend?
I think we're Ole Miss and they're Washington State, and I think that's enough to say right there. Washington State, number 1 in the Pac-12. It's not the Pac-12 everybody thinks it is anymore. I broke down Pac-12, if you ask me. They're 3-2. I think their pass rush cannot, and their secondary can't keep up with Ole Miss fast-paced offense. And can I say my score?
Yeah, what's your score?
It's either because I have a heart, so I have sympathy for Washington State. So it either be 27-14 Ole Miss or 42-10 Ole Miss.
Those are two really different score predictions.
Yeah, that's two different. I got caught. I'm going to give 42-7. You know, I think. Well, I'll get into my reasoning why, but we'll get to do with the score predictions, I guess.
What do you think?
I'm going to go 45-10. I think that this is going to be a dominant day offensively for Ole Miss, and I think Washington State probably manages a field goal, and then garbage time they probably get in the touchdown, kind of like Tulane. But I think 45-10 is pretty safe.
Yeah, I'm in a similar realm of just 40 something. I don't think I care. Like,
well,
we're gonna win.
We have a competition. You have to give a score prediction, so we have to know. In the realm of 40 something.
Didn't matter because they've been losing.
Exactly. Yeah. And
49.
If I'm getting judged on my predictions.
49-3.
Okay. 49-3.
I can get behind that.
I think it's a scrimmage game. This game. I mean,
yeah.
And
I think it's good to get back into the rhythm after a bye week. I think that's good. And usually when analyzing these kind of things, I like to break down the pros and cons of each team. But it's like it's kind of hard to the pros for Washington State are very little to none. You got a team made up of mostly transfers. So you don't really have an identity on this team. They have a solid D-line for what it's worth, for who they've played, but that's not anything compared to what they're about to play. I think that's imminent. Cons for Ole Miss, I mean, you could be seen as a first-half team in this game, slow to start, a second-half team, and I think you might have maybe let up a touchdown in the first, half, but I really don't think there's going to be much to worry about. And then there are some injuries in the special teams unit, and Washington State has proven to have an effective special teams unit, but once again, I don't think there's much that they can do to kind of put this game together, other than the fact that Washington State is very well coached.
Yes.
Jimmy Rogers is a phenomenal coach for what it's worth. And
first year, mind you.
Yeah, first year. He's already changed the culture around there. So I do think that they had that going for them. It's just a comparison game at this point. So
yeah, no, I completely agree. This has been kind of a tough team for me to figure out. I mean, they're 3-2 on the season. I mean, they go week 1, they play arch rival. Well, I don't know about arch rival, but they very heated rival Idaho. Fun fact, Pullman, where Washington State is, and Moscow, where Idaho is located, are literally about 10 miles away from one another. It is Pullman, Moscow Regional Airport, actually. So the Battle of the Palouse, old school rivalry, conference mates a long time ago. But they win that game of the opener. They get mollywopped by North Texas and Washington, and I think that they're a solid team. They'll probably finish about 5-7, 6-6 if I had to guess. But I think Ole Miss is really just going to be looking to shake the rust off, get themselves adjusted, and get right for Oklahoma and Georgia down the line. They're getting ready to enter their toughest play of conference territory.
Yeah.
And this is really a game to get your offense and get your defense, get yourselves as a unit. This is a get-right game. Just get rust shaken off, come out, play physical, play fast, get up big early, and then just, kind of get some guys in that, maybe don't normally get in, get some experience with backups.
Ole Miss has to win this game, if you ask me, because you have such a hard schedule coming up. You got Georgia, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Florida, and Mississippi State, which I don't care what anybody says. Mississippi State, I'm still watching out for you wherever you're at. Because you know what? A rivalry can really bring up an upset loss, Henry.
Yes. No, you're right.
No, I'm scared of Mississippi State, just not Washington State at all. I don't.
Okay, no. But I'm saying they have to win this game so you can have a cushion in case you do lose those future games.
100%. Yeah. I actually had the pleasure of going to the Holiday Bowl and watching Washington State play Syracuse. They did lose, but that was a really random game to go to. And it was fun. They looked good. They lost a lot of their good players. I don't think they have the same identity as the team last year that made a bowl game. I don't think they're going to be able to put it together, to even make it close.
It's a completely different identity. Jake Dickert, the head coach of the Cougs last year, taking a trip over to Winston-Salem, head coach of the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. So, I mean, you've got Jimmy Rogers in his first year, as I pointed out earlier. I mean, this is literally not the same team. I mean, John Mateer was the star of that team. He's tearing it up at Oklahoma right now. We've been talking about him all season long here on the show. But yeah, I mean, this is a team that is literally having to start from scratch. And the fact that they have a winning record after playing some fairly solid competition, it's impressive to them. Shout out to the Cougars, but I think they're walking out Oxford with an L on Saturday.
Yeah, and that's why they brought in Jimmy Rogers, right? He came in and, he started from scratch. And he's doing a great job at it.
Absolutely.
And I think that is a good testimony to who he is as a coach because, even Lane Kiffin was quoted by saying it's a really well-coached team, and it is what it is. Granted, it's not, going to be a caliber team that could, beat this Ole Miss offense, but I do think that they're a great team. And I also, I totally got to agree, just reintegrating what Mariah, what you said about Mississippi State. Rivalry, we said this last week, the beauty of football is that, motives are what gives the games a deciding difference. And, it is a rivalry game, and that's going to be a big chip on their shoulder. So it is important, Henry. Yeah, you said this is a kind of a get-back game, and that's exactly what it is. You need to get this game back and get ready for these bigger games to come up.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully they're able to shake the rust off because, a bye week and then not so dominant team right in a row. Like, I hope that they're able to keep that mindset that they just, got out of with the LSU game. I'm really hoping to see a dominant performance. You say must win. I say must, they got to
dominate.
Yeah, they have to dominate.
100%.
I think for the ranking implications and for the team and for going forward, I think this needs to be they need to make a statement.
Yeah, yeah, definitely a statement. The standard is the standard is the standard is the standard, and that's what you have to do. You have to come out here and not just, exactly like you said, Erika, not just win, but you have to portray a message, and that message needs to be over-exaggerated if you want to strike any fear into these teams coming up.
Yeah.
Most dominate like the Eagles. Eagles green.
This is an Ole Miss podcast, and we will see you next week to talk all about the Washington State game as well as the upcoming and much more frightening games that are on our schedule. Thank you so much. I have been your host, Erika Dierke.
Max Certuse.
Mariah Evans.
And I'm Stuart.
We will see you all next time. Hotty toddy.